If there's two really big factors in this world that both start with the letter M that keep the human race entertained, it is without question music and movies. We're going to focus on movies today. For well over 100 years now, motion pictures has been one of the surefire ways to keep folks entertained. Sometimes they're beautiful, sometimes they're action-packed, sometimes they're romantic, sometimes they're funny, and sometimes they're even scary. And we're going to talk about two of those factors today. Here is my personal top 5 scenes from movies that are both scary and funny at the same time. So why don't you just mosey on over into that kitchen, grab yourself some popcorn and yourself a soda, because here we go. Here we begin with one of the biggest blockbusters of all time. The very first Jurassic World film in 2015, directed by Colin Trevorrow, definitely made its mark, not just in the box office and dinosaur pop culture, but movies in general as well, making it very much a modern-day version of the first Jurassic Park. This scene from the film contains some serious tension as well as a little bit of a giggle. The funny part is just how wide the super hybrid Indominus Rex has to open its mouth to get a good grip on the gyrosphere, as it sort of looks like a snake trying to eat a big egg. The scary part is when it lifts the advanced form of transportation off the ground and slams it back down several times as it attempts to make some snacks out of Zack and Gray inside the gyrosphere. Next in line, we have a film from one of the most well-known horror movie series of all time, namely Friday the 13th. This scene here comes from A New Beginning, the 5th film in the series from 1985, directed by Danny Steinman. These horror movie victims weren't exactly your typical kind. Silly Son Jr. can be seen and clearly heard coming up on his motorcycle to the old shack where his crazy hillbilly mom is putting together some supper. But it's rather difficult for the two to understand what exactly is going on with their constant back and forth hollering and screaming.
John, move and kill him! You hear me?
Are you hearing me, boy? Get off that fucking bike and come here and eat my stew!
Little does Ma know that this time she cusses out her hillbilly son would be her last. And it would be Junior's last ride, too. Inside the house, the crazy lady is still preparing dinner as she hears someone entering the home.
About time, you fuckwad.
Assuming it's her son, she continues to cuss out the intruder.
You hearing me, Junior? You talk. You dumb?
Until she gets the wrong end of a cleaver from the movie's main killer, of course. Here we are on the podium with yet another classic slasher that made his mark in horror movie history. In 1984, director Wes Craven introduced the world to the one and only Nightmare on Elm Street, Mr. Freddy Krueger himself. And it's pretty obvious that nobody could portray the deranged killer quite like Robert Englund could.
Please, God.
This is God.
The gag in this film is one of the very first scenes when Tina goes to bed one night and dreams of being chased down the street by a creepy burnt-up fella wearing a red and green striped sweater and apparently having knives for fingers on one hand. In the middle of the scary sequence, the ugly nightmare man suddenly pops out from behind a tree and shows Tina a rather freaky trick.
Tina! Watch this.
The sinister grin on Freddy's face as his eyes look back and forth is the perfect combination of creepy and funny. Now, it's a fun time for Freddy, but the same can't exactly be said for Tina, or her friends for that matter. And here we have a moment from the original take on Stephen King's It, directed by Tommy Lee Wallace, being awarded the silver medal on this list. Unlike the insanely demonic and almost colorless Bill Skarsgård Pennywise from the 2017 to 2019 remake of It, the way the legendary Tim Curry appeared and portrayed Pennywise in the original It from 1990 was much more clown-like with multiple colors of the rainbow and a plumb hilarious attitude. And Timmy sure does show it off in the scene where John Ritter playing grown-up Ben is in his hotel room when adult Beverly Mars, played by the beautiful Annette O'Toole, walks in and tells him about a love memory from when they were just youngsters 30 years ago. It's a lovely memory of a poem Ben wrote for Beverly. And of course the two lovebirds begin to cuddle and kiss. However, things slowly start to get a little bit fishy when Ben looks over in the mirror nearby.
There's something going on around here that just don't add up.
He notices that Beverly appears to be wearing a yellow set of breeches. He turns around fast and is scared out of his wits when he finds out he was actually kissing It, a.k.a. Pennywise the Clown.
Kiss me, fat boy.
After being made fun of and laughed at, Ben quickly runs away and is wondering what exactly happened there. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to present to you the gold medal champion of this list. When it comes to dinosaur movies and pop culture, it is quite difficult to find one that can take on director Steven Spielberg's classic 1993 Jurassic Park. With the perfect combination of practical effects, animatronics, and CGI, Jurassic Park is without question a legacy of a masterpiece. The dinosaurs were all forces of nature to be reckoned with, and the mighty Tyrannosaurus Rex is no exception. Even this frightening but also funny scene proves it. Recently in the film, the power in the park was cut off, allowing all the dinosaurs to break out of their enclosures, including mighty Miss Rexy herself. After flipping around a tour car and almost killing Lex and Tim Murphy inside of it, the powerful tyrant lizard runs over towards an outhouse after being distracted by a flare and tears it down, revealing the blood-sucking Lori with his pants down on the toilet. Now that's the funny part. But the scary part is that there is literally 7 to 8 tons of pure meat, muscle, and mass menacingly staring straight down at his quivering body. It's all short-lived when over 5 tons of pure jaw power strike down on Gennaro, picks him up, and begins to violently thrash him about, ending his T-Rex terror permanently. If you were in any way, shape, or form frightened and/or entertained by any of these sequences, feel free to show your appreciation by hitting the like button and the subscribe button down below. And I'll see y'all later.